Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to take a look at the trash can bin system that I have set up. Now, it has been 117 days, or about 4 months, since our last update. And the reason for that is because I really wanted to let the worms work through all the material so we could do a harvest of the material. But before we do that harvest, we're going to do a separation. And for that, I have a container here that's got holes cut out in it. And that way we can sort of lure the worms into this container and then take them out. So right now, after this long of a period of time, there should be almost no food in there, almost no bedding, and they should be looking for it. So we're going to add cardboard to this system. We're going to add a bunch of food. We're going to put it, bury it in probably 3 to 4 inches on top, and then we're going to let it sit there and let the worms work their way into that. So with that, let's take a look at our trash can system, see how it's doing, verify that all the food is gone and that most of the bedding is gone. And then let's get this started so we can get these worms moving into this new system and empty this out, as I need to start harvesting my castings before fall arrives so I can add them to my yard and garden areas. So with that, we'll take a look at our trash can system. All right, here is our trash can system. As you can see, the last date of 5/3/23. Today is August 28th. Now let's go ahead and take this lid off and look inside this system here. You can see that there's almost nothing here. It's really shrunk down. It was all the way up to this ridge, or I should say, let me point to the back here, this ridge right here. So it's sunk down a good 4 inches. We've got a ton of these guys in here, these little millipedes all over the system, believe it or not. You can see them all over my glove just from in there. And that's normal. Those guys come across. There's a whole bunch of spider in here too. I don't need the spider though. But there's a whole bunch also on the side over here. And you can see I'm just scraping them in there. No big deal. But you can see this material just looks fantastic. They've broken it down. It's a little bit moist, but not bad. But you can see, I mean, they've gotten through all the cardboard in here, all of the, you can see all the, you can just see, I mean, this just looks like great material. It's ready to go. Worms are in here though. And I can't really harvest this from the bottom. That just doesn't work well in this system. So we're going to have to harvest from the top, but what I want to do is sort of get out as many worms as I can out of this system first. I don't want to just dump all these in my yard. Okay, here's an avocado pit that's not quite fully digested yet. But what this means is that we can kind of dig down in here a little bit, and we can make, you can see this is just really, stuff is really compacted in here too. I mean, as I said, it did shrink 4 inches. Let's throw this avocado pit to the side. But what I really want to do here, this is a little bit muddy towards the bottom, but I want to just get out as many worms as I can. So we're going to try to do that by doing a harvest of the worms. And to do that, we are putting in, as I showed you before, a container here that has a bunch of holes in it. Now we got to be very strategic with how we do this here. So I'm going to put this down into the system, kind of press it in a little bit. There's holes in the bottom, there's holes in the side. I don't know if you can see that. There's just not a whole bunch, but just some. And then some holes in the side. I'm not putting a lid on it, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of cardboard into this bottom section here as a bedding material. So we're just going to go ahead and throw in just a handful of cardboard, just like that, just something to go along the bottom. I'm also going to throw in a handful of the castings here from the side. And now what we're going to do is throw in another handful of cardboard. This is just to kind of get the worms up into this area. And now we're going to put in some food. We're going to bait these worms. And to do that, we're going to use food. So what we're going to do is we're going to first throw in this avocado pit that's in there. But I've got a container of food right here. It's frozen, but we're going to go ahead and throw this in. This stuff is pretty sticky. This is a little bit more sticky than I like my compost, but hold on here. I just got to put that lid off to the side. But then, by the way, this bedding has been pre-moistened too, but we're going to go ahead and throw in some food in here to lure them into here because they are hungry and they're going to be looking for food. So that's why we're throwing the food in here. I don't have any holes up top here, as I said. It's to the bottom, and then we've got the top that's going to be open. So we're throwing in a bunch of different food. This is probably going to heat up a little bit to start, and then it'll probably cool down and be a good stuff for the worms to come in here. So there we go. That is in there. That looks good. We're going to go ahead and push this down a little bit. I have my mask on here, or I'm about to put it on, I should say. I've got my N95 mask. I'm putting that on now. And now what do we add? We add some of our crushed crab and eggshell. So I got my container right there. Whew. I'm going to put too much in here when I fill it back up. There we go. Alright, we don't need to fill it up all the way, we just need to put some in there. I'll have to clean that off later. And now we're going to top this back off with more cardboard. Because you should always cover your food scraps with some cardboard. Some of it gets on the side, that's fine. But the idea is we're going to try to lure these worms in here. So when I harvest this, I don't have a whole bunch of worms that I'm just throwing into my yard. I can move these to another system. And this can sit for a week or two now because of how much food is in there and how large this container is. Now I haven't tried this before with this size container. I've done it with smaller containers. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. I'm really hopeful with this one because it's nice and big and the system's pretty big in general. So I'm hoping this will be a good way to lure these worms out. There we go. Just like that. Now the last part we need to do on this is there's holes on the side. So we're going to kind of bury those holes. That way the worms can go in from the sides and the bottom. And hopefully these worms will head in there and we'll get some good stuff at the end. Now the top's open, as I said, because we're going to go ahead and just leave it open. I don't really want to start shutting the top, and then I got to drill holes in the side to let air in, and it's just a pain. So I'm just going to leave this open. We're going to put our cardboard back on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just trying to clear off my glove here. Actually, I'm going to spray this down just a little bit just to clear up my glove. Oh. Hold on a second, I forgot to turn my sprayer on. There we go. There we go. Just wanted to clean my gloves off a little bit there. Add a little bit of moisture to the top. I'm going to go ahead and take this glove off. Put this off to the side. Oh, hold on here. I'm just going to dump some of this water in here from the lid. And now what I want to do is I want to put the top back on. And as you can see here, with the top on, that's going to hopefully hold that moisture into that bucket system. And that won't be a big deal. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my label on here. And I think we're good to go. So I'm going to say, as you can see there, 8/28. And that's a harvest. So as I said, it's been quite a few months. Hopefully we'll get a good amount of worms into this container. And that way we can start separating this and really sort of pull this out from the top, since the bottom harvest of this does not really work that well. So with that, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and let me know.